Hello and welcome to another StemAcademy instructional video. Today what we're looking at is quickly how do we grab the code from a couple of different animations and how do we bring them into one animation. So that's what we're going to do today. Now the first thing is that I'm just going to grab the sprites from the smallest animation that has the least amount of sprites, and that'll save me a bit of work. So the first thing I need to do is open up Scratch. And I'm going to go and just save the sprites from the smallest animation, and I can remember that my introduction had 4 or 5 sprites, but my Pong game only had 2 sprites, which was the ball and the paddle. So I'm just going to go and open up the Pong animation itself. So File, Open. So I'm using the offline version. You could use the online version. It doesn't make any difference. It's all the same. You just need to save everything locally though, of course. So let's go and grab my Pong game, and these are my 3 animations in here I've put into folders. So I'm just going to get the Pong game itself, and I'm just going to use the simpler core examples. So that's the Pong game itself, and it's only got 2 sprites, the ball and the paddle. So how do we save those sprite and the associated code? So that's the sprite there on the left, and that's the code there on the right, of course. And as we know, all sprites have their own code. So how do we save that? We just right-click, Save to Local File, and I'm going to do the sensible thing and make a new folder and call it Sprites, because this is inside that Pong game folder, just because it's really useful to be organized. Otherwise you just get a whole bunch of files everywhere and you don't know what's going on. Now if you look, it names it automatically according to what the sprite is called. So this is ball, and it gives it dot sprite, you see. So so that means Scratch 2. The 2 on the end means Scratch version 2, and the dot sprite means that it's code for a sprite. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to do the paddle, right click, Save to Local File, and it's going to go into the same folder, and it's called paddle.sprite2. Okay, so that's my 2 sprites. So what we need to do now is we need to save the backdrop. So if we just click on the backdrop up here and then go to backdrops up there, we can save these backdrops. So the one that I'm using in the game is this final one down here. So I just right click on the one that I am using in the game. Obviously these were just leftovers, so I don't need those in the final game. So I'm just saving the only one that I need, which is this one here. So save to local file, same as before. So I just put them in with the sprites. I think that's fair enough. So you could call that Pong game or something. Boardwalk. It's pretty straightforward. Just leave it like that. Okay. So that's that one saved. So what we need to do now is we need to go and open up our other animation, which is going to be the introduction, and that's got the 4 or 5 sprites in it, and that's why I'm going to import into that, because it just saves a bit of work. So that's the project info. So this is the project info. It's got the 5 sprites. So what I'm going to do now is import the 2 sprites from the Pong game and the backdrop from the Pong game, and then after that, in a separate tutorial, we're going to turn it all into one, use the transitions. But all we're doing now is going and getting the code and the sprites and the backdrops. So what we do now is we just go upload from file, and I need to go into the Pong folder and into the sprites folder, and I'm going to get the paddle, and there it is there, and I'm going to go and get the ball sprite, and I'm going to go into backdrops and upload from file there, and I'm going to get the boardwalk, and there it is there. So that's great. So what I've done is I've effectively merged 2 separate animations and brought all of their sprites, their code, and the backdrops into one. Okay, great. Thanks for listening.